Good morning.
Good morning. We are WRME live out of Mustang, Oklahoma. Weichert Realtors, Main Edge. We just got back from the Weichert Realtors National Convention in the Bahamas. And it was wonderful. A bit pricey, but I tell you what, the weather was beautiful the whole time we were there. Of course, in Oklahoma today, we have one of those bluebird days. It's awesome outside, especially after all the rain we've had.
Yes, and it didn't rain except the day we left up there.
It started raining as we were getting in the taxi to go to the airport in the Bahamas. You know, we love good weather. You know, in Oklahoma we get all kinds of weather, so it's kind of crazy.
But we learned a lot, and we've been sharing.
And it's great to see agents from all over the country. You know, we're in the Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas Broker Council,
right.
And you know, we all share basically the same issues across the board. You know, as far as real estate issues and stuff like that. Every area has its own deal. You guys will also notice that we're not in our typical office this morning. We are at a title company. We're not going to say who because we don't have permission to do that. You know, I have a closing here. Well, actually, I have a closing any minute now, but they can wait on me just a little bit. I close dozens and dozens of properties myself right here, so I love it. They take care of us. That's one of the things we're going to talk about today is title companies. You know, who chooses the title company?
Buyer.
The buyer does.
Unless it's bank.
Right, unless it's an REO or some special deal.
Like that.
And you know, most buyers don't care.
No.
Okay.
Excuse me. And remember, if a seller requests a change in title company, it might be because they're also buying a house and they're trying to do it at the same title company so they don't have to run across town.
Right.
Or a contract is busted and the title work's already started and they're trying to save your buyer some money.
Well, you know, I like to make it simple for the client. Okay, buyer or seller, whichever side, you know, that I happen to be handling. I get a little frustrated. I have had agents that wanted to close at a specific title company, even though it was inconvenient to the buyer and the seller. And I find out when we get to the closing that title company had the best cookies. Okay, I was like, oh my gosh, I would never inconvenience my clients over cookies, okay? Even though some of these title companies have some great snacks, okay? You know, like this morning, they give me the Coca-Cola this morning. I know they're bad for you, but if you ever need to clean battery acid off your battery, it'll do it in a heartbeat. But I haven't had any coffee or anything else yet this morning, so I need some zip.
And preparing for closing. When we're asking you about making sure money's where it needs to be, if it's wiring or the bank or you're bringing in a cashier's check or anything like that, that's to prepare so when we get here the day of closing, everything goes as smoothly as possible.
You know, that's part of what we do as realtors is coordinate all that stuff. And you know, as realtors, we tend to get to like one title company over the other because we develop professional relationships. And you know, there are lots of good title companies here in Oklahoma City, especially. I really can't think of maybe one or two that I've ever had an issue with. They go above and beyond. They know without realtors and everything else, their business is going to be fairly slim.
Right.
You know, and I tell even my investors and stuff, if they have a title question, call the title company.
Yes.
You know, because the title company is looking for business also. Okay, and a lot of times it's a simple question for them. These folks are so professional; they know what's going on. If you have a title question, don't hesitate to call the title company. I mean, they'll take care of it. Of course, if somebody takes care of you and answers your questions and helps you out when you have a closing, you know, take it to them. Okay. You know, and there's all kinds of different title companies. Most title companies handle most of the stuff basically the same. But, you know, as investors, you know, a lot of times you have title companies that need to do a dual close or subject to, and not all title companies do that. So, you know, if you're an investor, call around, check them out. See, you know, go to your REI meetings, and they'll tell you who the title companies that can do these certain things. And a lot of people, or even title attorneys, handle special things, you know, that a regular title company.
And all you have to do is call and ask questions, or ask your realtor if they know offhand. They might have dealt with that, especially if they're used to working with investors or short sales or whatever the situation may be. We might know a title company already that we know can handle that kind of situation.
Right. Since we at Weichert here in Oklahoma don't have our own title company or our own mortgage company, a lot of places across the country they do have that, but we don't. We rely heavily on all the title companies, and if it's the best fit, if I've got to drive to Norman, from Mustang, if it's a good fit for the buyers and sellers, that's what I'm going to do.
I've done it.
Absolutely right. Now, most of the time, you're not going to have an issue changing like abstract paperwork from one title company to the other, unless it's outlying county. Some of the counties you do have to pay, before they'll start the paperwork, because they don't have a gazillion transactions like our local ones do. And just be prepared for that, and just talk to them, and they'll tell you what their requirements are, and
that's why sometimes if we're working outside of Oklahoma City, like I'm going to have a closing in Shawnee because the house we're buying is in Meeker. I'm not going to have the sellers and the buyer drive into Oklahoma City for a closing when there's a closing company right there in Shawnee. That's more convenient.
Right. Did one in El Reno. Actually, the buyer was very concerned about everything that was going to take place, and I expressed that to the title company in El Reno, which is a branch of the one that we're at right now, and they actually sent our client a list of everything that would be happening and what would be needed and what would need to be paid for up front or whatever. And I mean, they went out of their way to explain everything to the client, where we don't have miscommunications. It's just like when we deal with lenders. You go to your mortgage guy, and the mortgage people know all the rules. We know a lot of them, but the mortgage guys are specialists. We let them do their stuff. The title companies are the same way. They're the specialists in that deal. They're one of the many transaction pieces to every real estate puzzle. But you have to use the professionals in these things. So
it goes a lot smoother. We're used to handling this, so if we need to get this to the title company, there's a reason they need it to proceed, because they ask them off the wall questions. Some think, am I married? What's the last of this, that? They're like, why do they need to know that? They need it for the closing.
Yeah, because we traveled to the Bahamas and I bought all the tickets.
Oh yes, that was funny.
And Erin is not my wife, okay? I'm with my wife while we're traveling, but because she was on my ticket roster, she got flagged. They swabbed her computer for bombs, and they wanted to know why we were traveling together if we weren't married. And I said, my wife's right here,
I told them I learned how to travel light. I left the husband and kid at home.
It was hilarious. Some of the security stuff that we had to go through. It was just funny.
And then checking all the luggage under your name. That threw them off too. You're traveling with no luggage? You've been here for a week with no luggage? Yes.
Well, coming from the Bahamas, they even put my grandkids' luggage. My 1-year-old grandson had his own, luggage according to the airline, which he didn't. But it was just funny the way it all came off.
So if you want to know anything about our awesome trip, let us know. But we do have one open house this weekend that I'm aware of, 3517 Lindy Lane in Oklahoma City. It's off Morgan between 29th and 44th. Saturday from 2 to 4. Beautiful 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath home.
What's the price on that one?
$379,500.
Sounds like a deal. I'll tell you.
That tongue twisted there. Blah blah blah.
All right. Well, what else we got to say about Weichert today? I wanted to thank the Weichert people that put on the convention. It was just awesome. The amount of information and stuff. That's one thing. Realtors are shopping for a brokerage to sit at.
Yes.
They really got to consider the amount of training that's free, the amount of tools that is free. Mm-hmm. You can nickel and dime yourself out of this business so quickly.
Very quickly.
And our philosophy is to not nickel and dime an agent and to get them off the ground and running as quickly as possible.
Yes.
And that's one of the powerful tools about Weichert that I really like.
And the help. You can call. I've called other brokerages before in other states, for whatever reason. They do something, and I'm curious about how they do it or how they got it started and off the ground. And they're more than happy to say, this is what we did.
When it comes to training or comp plans or whatever, it's pretty much an open book. And, as far as privately held real estate companies, Weichert is the largest.
Yes.
Okay. Most real estate companies are either owned by Realty, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's or whatever. A lot of these are owned by one large corporation, and that's okay. But I like the family deal. I like how much everybody cares about your success in this business, and that's important. When you're looking for a place, you just got to think about those kinds of things. All right, we about ready to wrap it up?
We are.
All right, we're Weichert Realtors in Main Edge in Mustang, Oklahoma, where we do real life real estate every day.
Bye.
Come see us. Bye-bye.